Hello, YouTuber woobers. This is take 2 of my video. I turned the camera on to record, but then I didn't turn on the microphone. So I was doing this. It's a funky world. I tell you, being on this is a different world altogether. And I don't know any of you out there that are on this, but before I wasn't on it, and I was coping with it. But now it's hard to live without it. And it's a weird emotional thing to be on when my oxygen is low. Like I've been at a cold lately, and it's a little hard to take in enough oxygen to satisfy being silly. And I miss being silly. So this video is about my computer. Now granted, I just put this motherboard in back in May of last year. And overall it runs rather well, but it doesn't run really well for editing. Rendering is slow. When I was using Filmora and I put in the new circuit board, the new video card, that kind of boosted up my my editing speed. But Filmora is, I guess you could do a lot of things with Filmora, but it's a complicated, it could do a lot of different things type of thing. Because, I could do easy stuff on Filmora and be very content with it. But if I want to get it to really complicated, like for my last 2 shows when I had, me up in the corner and stuff, it's a lot easier to do it with Adobe Premiere or Final Cut Pro, those kind of things. Most of my shows that I've done that have gone up on CTSP have all been done with Final Cut Pro at the studio, where I have access to an iMac and also assistances if I can't figure something out. Although, to tell you the truth, YouTube has been a huge help for figuring something out. There's always somebody out there that has come up with an idea and figured out how to do it, and they're very happy to share that information. But at any rate, I since my issues with my health, I haven't been at the studio 4 times a week like I was before. Now, if I'm lucky, if I get down there every couple of weeks. So, and it all has to do with this, because I'm on a short leash of about 5 hours with my refillable tank. And, when I go out, I have to be able to plan my trips. Someday when I can get myself a portable concentrator, that'll probably open up my life a lot. But right now, being on the tank, I have a big tank here that I fill up the little tank, and I can go out and I can stretch it out longer. I think the X-Files is on in the other room. Should explain everything. So, I can drop my levels down on the tank. But since I've had this cold, I can't do that. So I might get a little bit more time. 4 hours is a safe time, but it's not much time to go to the studio and do editing. So I've chosen to go to do my editing at home on Adobe Premiere, so it has similar features as Final Cut Pro, and it's a very nice program. Unfortunately, it's something you have to subscribe to from Adobe now. It's not you purchase the program and it's so you have that monthly commitment as just somebody else that wants a subscription from you. But then I have Photoshop, and it actually gives me the access to all of the Adobe programs, which has some benefit. So, anywho, back to what we're main reason for the talking of this discussion has been is what do I do with increasing my performance on my computer? And I have two options. One option is only a little bit, and the other option gives me more capability. One option is to just, right now I have 16 gigs of RAM, 4 sticks of 4, and the max on the board is 32. So with the 16 plus my graphics card, it isn't so bad, but it will bog down if I'm doing stuff in Premiere. It'll bog down the computer with anything else going on. So, and of course, render times is a long time. A half-hour show is about an hour. An hour show is 2 hours, which means I just get up and go to the other room and watch TV for a while. So I have a couple options here. I can upgrade this computer here to the maximum memory, which would be 32, which would be 4 sticks of 8 gigs, or 2 sticks of 16, but those sticks are really expensive. This is the DR3, so this motherboard was 2012. It has some USB on it. If it only has two 6.0 SATA connectors on it, the other 3 are 3.0. But it's an interesting board. It has a mSATA connector on it, but I didn't opt to get an mSATA card because if I ever upgrade to the newer boards, mSATA is obsolete. So it would be a waste of money. So my options are, like I said, to increase my memory to 32, which would be about, there are some sales out there that I could probably do it for a couple $100 or $264, somewhere around there, somewhere around $250. I can buy myself 32 gigs of RAM and put it in the board. So the other option is, and then I'll bring that up on PC Part Picker. So on PC Part Picker here, so there's I talk about him all the time, Kerry Holzman's YouTube channel. If you haven't watched him yet, you give him a watch. He's it's not just learning about computers. He has some spiritual stuff he talks about. it's an enjoyous thing to watch, even if you're doing you multitask like I do, and you watch this channel and you do some other things at the same time. So he has a friend named Catherine, and she really likes to match parts together. So she'll ask you a bunch of questions about what it is you're trying to accomplish, and she'll help you and your price range. Like I started with a price range of $400. Well, $400 doesn't go very far in a new computer. Having a case and a power supply and a DVD drive. Actually, I have a Blu-ray drive. Does help. So that picks up a big piece of the cost. But as you can see in the price picker here, now I haven't completely decided on the CPU. I can get into an i7 for $100 more, and I will get a couple more cores. It's an 8-core. Performance-wise, when you do a comparison of the CPUs, it doesn't look like it has a difference between the two, and I'm not sure if $100 is worth it. A cooler. Actually, I've already purchased the cooler. I got it on sale last week for $44. So that was kind of a bargain. So basically, all I really need, eventually I could get a M2 drive. But I don't need an M2 drive right now. I have that terabyte drive, Samsung SSD that'd be fine. So all it would really take for upgrading right now would be memory, and in this case, for the price that I would be paying for memory on my old computer, I can get 32 gigs of RAM for the new computer. So that's kind of a wash right there. The ASRock is about $99. It's on sale at Newegg. And I think they save like $20 if I buy it this week. And then deciding on what core I use. It almost seems like a no-brainer. But I don't know, some of you out there might have more experience with editing than I do. The CPU in my computer is obsolete by like 4 times when I was checking the comparison of performance of that versus this chip, the i5-96. It kept saying superseded. I think I went through it 4 or 5 times before I got up to a modern day processor. So even though the speed is similar, I think it was a 3.4 on my system now, it doesn't have as many cores. I think it's only 4 cores and, layers and blah, blah, blah. So I just thought I'd do a quick video and throw it out there YouTube land, and see. My budget is kind of tight, so buying these parts does put a little stress on on life, particularly the winter. This winter's been tough. Electric bills been $100 more than it usually is each month, and kerosene for the furnace, blah blah blah. Anybody that has to survive this winter has been, I'm sure, has hit hard on it. So actually what I'm asking is if somebody out there can convince me that just upgrading my RAM to 32 is going to really save the day for now, then speak up. If you think that because of this, the board is so old, now it's not going to go to waste. The existing board will get moved on over to the entertainment computer, which doesn't have any 6.0 SATA connectors on it. I don't know if he'll make any difference in there or not, but and that one is 16 is as high as it can go, but it does have 16 in it. So, you know, send me a message and see if I'm just trying to pick some brains out there, because sometimes my brain isn't working as well as it should. There we go. So, give me a holler, and happy tubing, or Fairy Speaks for You. I actually like that one even better. I should have color balanced because I'm looking a little red. Sorry about that. Do 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 do.